can we see the shades of Liam Lawson that we saw over the years during those last 11 Grand Prix before this very tumultuous 2025? For me, at least my thoughts on it are, back in VCARB alongside the rookie Isaac Hadjar, who has so far been able to compete with Yuki Tsunoda, I think that Liam just needs a pretty promising weekend. If you're within a couple places of your teammate, high, low, like that's not a bad deal. And if this car actually lands in the points on the actual Grand Prix side of things, which so far this season, because of strategy, not because of pure pace, it has struggled to do so. If Liam Lawson can somehow snag his first points in the VCARB, it's going to answer a ton of questions. The car, VCARB, is going to be A, easier to drive. B, Liam Lawson will be able to display, look, I am a points scoring caliber driver in Formula One, but fundamentally speaking, the Red Bull senior car does not agree with me, does not agree with my driving style, and I'm just the black to Max Verstappen's white when it comes to how other drivers really are affected by particular setups, by particular cars, by the way that teams build and structure the car for competition. So is it the car or is it the driver? I mean, that's going to be the big question on everybody's minds within this entire Red Bull family walking into this weekend. And a return to form, I'm not going to lay out any expectations. If Liam Lawson can snag P14, if I'm not mistaken, that might be his best on-track result. So that's still a strong weekend.
Yeah, it would be. It would be because we would have a DNF, and then we would have, I think, P18 or something.
17. Yeah.
Christian actually did talk about this a little bit, saying something along the lines of, like, it was clear that he was struggling, and it became a little bit more obvious that Red Bull had put a little bit too much weight on the shoulders of a very young and experienced Liam Lawson. That much could be said going into the season. That much could be said when that decision process was being made for Red Bull. We talked about it. There was a lot of drivers out there on the market. It was like, look, there's a lot of different guys that could end up in this Red Bull seat. And Liam Lawson was definitely one of those guys that we talked about. But to say that you put too much weight on his shoulders it's kind of like a yeah, duh moment. Like, you obviously put him in a situation where, hey, last year we lost a Constructors Championship because our driver number 2 bled points.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bleed points. And you're super young, and guess what? You got to race against somebody that may already be on the Mount Rushmore of greatest F1 drivers of all time.
Sure, yeah.
But hey, just don't bleed points, right? Like that's and Alex Albon talked about it, like the seconds differential between he and Max when he was racing, and yet he was still not getting great results, I guess you would say. So yeah, of course it was a lot of weight on Liam's shoulders, and I think for us that's kind of why we were like, look, maybe don't put this kind of situation on a rookie. Maybe don't put this kind of situation on a young driver. This is Yuki's chance to step up. It was Yuki's spot to take last year. It all made sense. It was like, look, he's been there the longest. He's waited the longest. He's been in your camp forever. Give him the chance. Give him the opportunity. And we're obviously happy for Yuki. We think I think he's going to do great. I think that he can get this seat for the remainder of the year, and we'll see where things go from there. But it's kind of delayed at this point. Like, if I'm Yuki, I'm like, look, hey, thanks. Like, I'm super grateful to be here, but
you don't want to be a part of a mid-season driver swap.
No, regardless. You don't. Especially when, look,
like, admit it. Like, you having the entire at least off season to get acclimated, having the entire infrastructure built around your success or failure, and then like from one team to the other, whether it's in the same family or not, immediately getting thrown into more tumultuous waters. Like, there is a lot here that could go wrong.
Well, I mean, yeah, look, I understand.
But it's an amazing opportunity. You're not going to say no.
I understand that VCARB is a sister team, but let's not make any joke. Being in the VCARB seat and being in the Red Bull seat next to Max Verstappen, two totally different things.
Yeah.
Completely different things.
And there is one more person within this entire weekend that I think, and moving forward, really, that I think stands to gain the most from this potentially. And he's not on the grid currently. I apologized a little bit to him last week, But
Did you?
kind of. The full apology will maybe come depending on how this weekend
What
goes.
has to happen for?
It's Checo Perez, by the way. You ruined my tease a tad, but it's okay.
Real TLPs no.
Look, the real TLPs know my rants were magnetic. Anyway, look, Checo Perez last year talked massively about struggling in this car. And as the car regressed over the course of the season, Checo, his results obviously got worse and worse and worse and were drastically worse. But as we learn more about this Red Bull car specifically, we're going to learn a lot as far as the undrivability that has been reported so regularly when it comes to this team, when it comes to this car, when it comes to this camp. And if for some reason Yuki Tsunoda also struggles with this, Cadillac, we're walking onto the grid next year, might be looking at a driver literally just south in Mexico as a great A, sponsorship option, B, a savvy, solid driver to walk back into the sport with, but C, just somebody overall who is a race winner as well, who has competed at the top level of this sport. So there's a lot of opportunity here for Checo Perez as well. We could very well see him on the grid next year, but it honestly, it really does kind of rely on Yuki Tsunoda's performance over the course of the rest of this season. If Yuki struggles, Lawson struggles, whoever the heck else they decide to toss into that seat maybe struggles, that's going to put a lot more emphasis on it's the car rather than the driver over the car.